Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. It's been 4-ish days, and sorry about that, I was away, but we're back for another great video. I may record more than one today, we will see. Of course, I don't want to burn out, so keep that in mind, but I have a cool project I want to show you guys and talk about my process behind some of the things I've done with it. So you're going to have to give me a second here while I turn on my push. I know, I probably should have done before then, but I'm going to do that right now. Turn on my push while I talk about this project. So essentially, with a lot of projects that I make, I don't have a singular real process. Of course, there's threats found. That's fine. Um, what I was gonna say is I don't have a real, process that I typically follow. There's not that much of a here's what I want and here's how I'm gonna reach that thing I want, because I don't know. And I think that's the case with a lot of music producers, unless they're working with like a large group and they have the singers and all that stuff. It's difficult to find and articulate and take the ideas in your head and put them on paper. A lot of times my best ideas come from just experimenting and trying. And that's what I feel like I did with this project. So this project started out pretty simply, where I was in the pack section for Ableton and downloaded this one called VoiceBox, because I'm always someone who loves vocal samples, but I don't want to sing myself, and I don't really have anyone who can sing for me. So for here, this has a few different things, but mainly I was interested in the samples to begin with. I was like, those samples are cool. But then I realized there's MIDI clips which do. And I was like, that's also cool. So originally I was using vocal samples, and I was like, that's kind of cool. I want to put it into a, drum rack so that I could program all this out instead of placing the individual samples or whatever. I could have a collection. But then I realized that it already has that. It already has drum racks for this. So if I click here, there's drum packs. And when I drag this, you can see. So essentially, it's like vocal chopping. It's not, you take a song and then you cut it up. But I was like, that is really cool. So it stemmed into this idea of this very calm, ambient-y, abstract, electric, experimental song that I can't really describe without playing it. So I'm going to go over exactly what I have here. But a lot of it is actually vocals. And then there's like some, piano stuff over there. But at the beginning, we have this sound, which I will solo. And this thing is the intro. So the auto filter frequency rises. And this sound has a few notable elements on it, being just shimmer and then another auto filter. The reason I have two auto filters is the top one is essentially like, let's affect the volume so it's no volume to a lot of volume, where there's no filtering. And then this one is like, let's filter it out a little bit, plus Valhalla Shimmer, which I wish was free, but it's one of the best shimmer plugins out there. And for your information, what shimmer is, it's kind of like a mix of reverb, echo, delay, all in one, where a sound happens and then it goes like, and it's like fills up the space, but also it has this long decay. Yeah, I guess is the right word. And there's like a quick attack where it's like boom, the sound happens, and then and it like fades off. That's essentially what a shimmer is. I mean, it's a little bit more than that, but in any case, I have this sound with the shimmer, and then this sound also with the shimmer, and I'll play this sound. Again, a singular vocal sound. Also with the filter. And you just heard that sound. This is the next sound, which we'll go into in a sec. But again, I have the auto filter on there, and let's remove it so you can hear the difference. It just softens it up a little bit. And I thought that sounded cool. Now, this sound, E-piano Rhodes. If I will turn everything off, all my effects, and then I'll solo you. And now it has a little bit of reverb itself. Did I put? I think I might have. No. The sound itself, I guess, just has a little bit of that reverb. Yeah, here, delay and reverb. Anyways, I found this sound a while ago, and I was like, this sounds really cool and very calm. So on top of that, I put RC20 to make it more vintage. Add a little bit of reverb again, some more reverb, some flutters, some noise, and some other elements. So with it on top, it sounds like. And then off. On. So it just does a little bit of nice stuff. And this one's not free, but if you have the money, it's worth it, I think. It's a very powerful plugin. Next, this guy is free, the Chow Tape module, which emulates tape decks, essentially, or like the vintage tape sound. So I put that on top because I wanted a reverby, spacey kind of sound that, sounds vintage, sounds older, and ethereal or whatever. And together. Sounds like that. And now if I play this part. Let me full screen this a bit more. So now it just repeats. As always, I fall into the repeat trap where you do something and you do it again. So then let me unsolo this so you can hear the full thing. And this is an auto filter, frequency filter, automation, whatever. And the way that I have this sound set up, it was kind of on accident. But we have this low set of things happening. And this comes in right at the crescendo or epoch or whatever the full thing. Ready? So this guy hits here. At the same time as this guy does its, whatever thing. So combined together, let's listen to that again. Cut it out because you don't need it. Then I bring it back in, which technically is kind of the same deal as doing all this. It ends here, and then after a certain amount of time comes in. But it's important in music. Sometimes you have too much going on, and it's great when you take stuff away. I think that's a good tip for making some interesting music. If you have a song and you're working on it and whatever, if it feels busy, you should remove like every element, I think, and then slowly add them back in until you're happy with it, so that you have that point where it's like this big boomy crazy, thing, and then you soften it out. You cut out maybe the drums cut out, or maybe this other element's cut out, because a lot of music can be very good and simple at the same time. And you don't need to do this big, bombastic thing that's like crazy. Of course, if you want to, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you. But there's a certain level of like, sometimes you need to slow down. You need to like calm the music out, take away some elements, and do just like a cutting out of certain things. Anyways, after this part, this beginning section, we come into the second part, which, first things first, we have the snare, which you can't hear because it is like really, auto filter is really low for this, because I'm doing like this hi-hat pattern thing over here, and I think I just had this temporarily. Let me turn this back up just so I can hear it. Yeah, now I know why. I realized that I didn't like the sound of the snare in the mix. Anyways, we have down here, I'll go to the next element that comes in, which is this guy, which is, again, I'm doing like a lot of effects to make it kind of reverby, kind of interesting, but it comes with its own, a little bit of shimmer. It's this shimmer rack of Veronica, which is somewhere in here. It's a drum rack, essentially. Of course, it's not called that, but if you go under drums at the very top, it's a drum rack, and you're dragging your elements and your effects, yada, yada, yada. So it kind of sounds like this. I love playing around with that. And then I have this auto pan, which basically just makes it so there's a slight, slow-ish, but not that slow, panning. So I think the way that I've set it up, and we'll listen to it, is that these first two notes here and here will be on one ear, and then the next two will be on the next ear, and back and forth. And then let me open this up. This is essentially bass. The idea is it's just a low note piano with, again, shimmer and then an auto filter. And this guy also has the auto filter. Auto filter is something I use a lot, and you may say too much, and I would be inclined to agree, but it works a lot of times. The one thing with an auto filter is once you get low enough, the sound does lose some of its like volume. So you use it sparingly, and if the volume ever is too low, A, you probably should just use an EQ. But B, you can just add in here, utility, and then you can just go here, add more gain. Sorry about that. Oh my god, I turned that too high. Okay. You get the point. You can add utility to make the volume louder again. But that sounds like this. Very calm, very simple. And then this guy sounds like this. So slowly going around your ears. Together. And then this tambourine will come in. And right when the tambourine hits, this guy comes in at the same time. The idea is it's kind of like, I'm doing, like, for this song, I'm doing something a little different than I typically do, which is the cutting out of the elements, of course, but there's a certain randomness to it, where it's not following the simple, normal structure of, like, 4 notes, then hit, then do this, then that, yada, yada, yada. Because I have this intro, then this guy stops, and then we go here, and then this guy cuts out, but only briefly, and then it comes back in. And then these guys come back in, and then this guy here cuts out, and right when it cuts out, we have this sound, which is a bomb tick sound that I just found, and we have this chow tape again, just on the lo-fi setting. Again, tape module and auto filter, because if we don't have it, it's quite loud and annoying. But if I have it, it's kind of nice. So the idea is that is like, not a transition necessarily, but it's just like, there's a thing that happens, and then we cut a bunch of things out, we add some other things in, and then we cut them out, and then we go back. So we have this that comes in, and this is kind of the transition here, where there's like this sound, these two sounds, then there's the top sound, and then that comes in a little bit, and then the bomb tick happens with these two sounds. And then after the bomb tick stops, this sound comes back in. So, play it. And coincidentally enough, I had lined it up where this first part, the higher pitch, and then the lower pitch happens at the end of the bomb tick. Right when this starts. And then this guy, auto filter frequency. And then, after we have that, and sorry if I'm going a little too fast, I'm trying to make shorter videos, but this is going to be a longer one, so I'm talking a little faster, but I'll try and slow down a bit. But then I have, I have cut some elements out here. These stop right, and then this one is still going a little bit. And then this guy will come in right here, right when this guy ends. You'll hear this. And the reason I do this is because these elements here have shimmer on them. So when it's done, and let me show you. It lasts almost about this length. And then this guy. Not exactly, but it lasts very similar. And then this one, if we hear this one, again, it's similar in length, in decay. So here together. Just it fades into this sound. So this sound is the only one there besides this guy, which has the ending. And then after this sound happens, here, is the next sound, which is literally a copy of that top one. And the reason is because I wanted lower notes. Something like that instead of like. But I also was like, maybe I want to affect each one individually, and maybe there's effects for the lower notes that I don't want to put on the higher set of notes. So I made a whole new channel, a whole new track for that. So now I've been keeping it from you for long enough, so let's listen to that part. And now the beginning of it, of course, is messed up, and it redlines. I will be fixing that in the future, but for the moment, it's going to stay in the ride. Then when this guy goes low note, this guy goes low note. here, after that happens, we bring in this snare thing, which is actually just hi-hats, but it's labeled snare for whatever reason. I guess when I put the snare in there first, then that's what it does. And then we have bum tick. Again, this one will be audible. And then if we go down to here, not much is happening, but this guy, if we go to auto filter, frequency, I meant this one, we have this filter. And if you remember, it's this guy. So that basically means you won't hear anything and it'll get louder over time. So now if you hear that, that is basically going to be a riser of this and a riser of the hi-hats. Now hi-hats come in. And then this one. Yeah. So, in any case, we have this end part which I'm still working on and I have no clue about. And this is not a finished song. It's not even close. Honest to God, I made this in like 5 minutes. I am, some god at music sometimes. And it is just funny to me. But in any case, I came up with this in like 5 minutes. I was like, this sounds really cool. I like some of the techniques I'm using. It doesn't follow the normal structure. There's cutouts weirdly, and yet it sounds good. So I'm going to keep working on this, of course, but I wanted to post this video as a, here's a song that could turn into something cool in the future, and I'm currently working on it, and I find it interesting. And at the same time, I came back from a trip, and I'm tired, but I need to record content so that you guys have something to watch. Of course, it's not perfect, but the idea was I wanted to get something out there and then, go from there. So I don't know, and I can't confirm that there will be anything tomorrow or Monday, but on Tuesday I don't have class, so I hope to record and send something out then. There may be a stream one of those days. I don't know. I am very, tired from my trip, so I'm going to, upload this video and then chillax the rest of the day. Then tomorrow I'll start getting the groove of things again and planning things out. Anyways, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, 23 minutes. Oh my God. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this 23-minute, here's some information about my song. Here's a 21-year-old man yapping about music for 21 seconds, 21 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will have new stuff soon. I love every single one of you guys. And for the challenge, I want you guys to do something interesting with vocals, I think. It could be just downloading, the Ableton pack if you have it, but get some vocal sample, do something interesting, then tag me in the video, or you can tag me on Instagram. Doesn't really matter, at one of my social media platforms. Give me a tag, and then I will check out your work and give you some comments and feedback. I love if you guys send me stuff because I love seeing, people doing stuff better than me, So that's the challenge. Do something funky with audio and then share it with me in whatever way works best. In the future, it'll be easiest when I have a Discord, which I will set up at some point because I know it's good to have. But at the same time, it's not pressing. So, yeah. All right. Love you guys. Bye.